Hello everyone and welcome back to the pit. Gregus here for your fix of bolt action content. Now actually, as I say this, I realize that in this video I don't want to speak just about bolt action, but I want to make a consideration that basically covers the world of wargaming in general. And I would like to speak about army books or codexes, however you want to call them. I mean the extra books that usually come out and flesh out armies, so to speak. I will begin with bolt action because it's the gaming system I am most comfortable with and that I know better. So let's speak about 3rd edition Armies of supplement books. So they set you back 30 euros, and the question that I am asking myself every time I look at them is, are they worth it? Now, I think the answer is no, but let me just explain better. So, what do those 30 euros get you? You get the full rules, the full army roster, and that is fine. And basically that's it. You have the introductory pages where they say how cool this army is. So far, the Germans, the US, the UK. You get, yes, some description of paratroopers, of commandos, etc. But that's it. That's it. It's not a book that you want to, cherish. Now, it's a gaming supplement, so I'm not saying it has to have like literary value or anything like that, but I feel that if you ask 30 euros, you have to provide something more than just a bunch of stats, And I think that in this regard, the books fail. What I would like to see, if you ask that price, is to have, I don't know, more trivia, more stories, just something more. And that just isn't there at the moment. So, what would I like to see? Now, of course, it's just my opinion, and if people have decided on a certain approach, they surely have their reasons. It's not my job to make them change their idea. So, given that now we are in the digital age, so like I think 99% of gamers have a smartphone, and now you have apps that basically do the dirty job that the army book does. And I mean, there's literally the official games, World Games app to do that. If you have them handy, why would you want to have the physical object? Now, I'm a boomer, so I'm not immune to the fascination of handling a physical object. Sometimes just going through the pages, you find the info you need. But for list building, it's complicated. You need pen and paper that, weirdly enough, sometimes are less available, or oftentimes are less available than a smartphone. And so it's more tricky to build a list on paper than it is to do in an army builder. I think this is quite undisputable. You can mix and mash, you can try things without getting mad about subtraction and addition. You can do that. I did. It's not something impossible to do. It's just not easy to do. And we are living in a world where easy is the key. So again, we are back to the question why the physical copies. Physical copies also have another big problem, and that is, if there are erratas, FAQs, or rule changes, you can't change the physical object. And I'm thinking the worst offender in this category, like by 3 miles, is the Armies of Germany book. The Armies of Germany had a day 1 errata that is long as... And so what do? Do I have to simply correct the various mistakes on the book? If you are a book lover, you don't want to mess with the book. You don't want to ruin the book. So do we need to print the erratas and just have spare sheets of paper throughout the book? That doesn't work either. In this regard, I'm thinking 40K codexes are even worse, because there are continuous points changes, rules changes. So basically, the physical object you have is literally useless, or mostly useless, because it gives you false information, while on the app you can just update the app, release the new points cost, the new rules, and it works smooth as button. Plus, I think there's another consideration. Let's assume you don't release paid armies of books. You just release them on free PDFs. Now, they've done this for all the minor nations. On the and again, I'm back to speaking about bolt action for now. They released all the rules, let's call them the index rules for minor nations, so that you can play until they have the official rules. So you could do the very same thing with the Armies of book. And what benefit would there be in such a move? Right now, if you are curious about another army, you either have to, again, study on the app, trying to figure out army lists of the new army, and that's okay. But again, if I know that people are mostly lazy, and not all of them take the time to do that kind of research. If you have the books, the codexes just available, just there, they would be easier to have access to, and maybe this could encourage more people to actually buy the miniatures, like start a new project, start a new army, because everybody can see what the various things can do, and maybe, oh, okay, so these Russians engineers look really, really dope, like mini Terminators. I want them. And I mean, for 30 euros, if you buy a box set, you already sold more value than the single book. So again, but I have no way to prove that this would work economically. So it's probably the whole point is moot. Maybe doing something like that would encourage more people to actually start armies, collecting more armies. Now, because again, as they are right now, I don't think it takes too much effort to produce an armies of book. It's a series of, again, stat blocks. You have just the introductory narrative, and then there's a bunch of pictures. Okay. Maybe, again, you can leave the paid supplements, the paperbacks, let's call them, and maybe I would even pay for them, but give me something more. Make them worth my money, or cut the prices. And again, I did not do my research well, but I think it applies very well to 40k as well. And I'm speaking of 40k as it's one of the most popular, if not the most popular, tabletop wargame as of now. Again, for 40k, it's worse because it's subject to way more change than bolt action, which literally invalidates lots of stuff that is in the codexes. The exception in the case of 40k is that it's more easy to add value to a codex by adding lore, by adding, I don't know, transcripts, battles, or whatever, just fluff. Okay, I think it's easier to do that in 40k because you can literally make up whatever you want than it is for historical games. Now, there are other game systems who go with this approach of making the rules, make everything freely available. I'm thinking Trench Crusade, for example. Now, of course, and the Pillage, the new gaming system by Victrix Limited. Now, of course, I already hear you say they are just launching their products. Of course, they want to keep things free because they need to build a player base, and that makes sense. But again, this is a gut feeling. I can't prove it to you, okay? I think that in general is a good approach. Now, maybe in the future, Trench Crusade will move to the paid supplement system as well. And again, probably economically is the right thing to do. But as a consumer, I really should not buy those books. I really should. I shouldn't pay for them. Again, I am willing to pay for an updated app because that just works. It has everything and it just works. Books, not so much. Not so much. Again, these are thoughts that I'm having now. I will force myself to buy every new book because I want to do the review, and it's not. I mean, it looks better to just do the review having the physical object in mind and not just reading it on the computer or on the smartphone. but it's like I'm doing this so you don't have to. You're welcome. So tell me, I would like to see to hear what you think about this. Am I a weirdo about thinking these thoughts? Do I have a point? I don't know. You let me know. Anyway, this is it for today. I will see you in the next video. Until the time, as usual, be safe and ciao ciao.